Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a real System Functions 101 masterclass. But get this, the system we're deconstructing isn't some complex software or a physical machine. It's a children's nursery rhyme. We're going to uncover the hidden educational mechanics of a seemingly simple everyday poem and reveal how this single page is actually a highly engineered, complete learning experience designed to perfectly calibrate a young child's understanding of the world. So take a quick second and think about your own early milestones. Do you remember at what age you started walking? Maybe you were, I don't know, a year old, 14 months? Hold on to that thought, because this is exactly how our source material immediately hooks a child's attention. Before the actual poem even begins, the system forces engagement. It asks this direct, personal question that makes the reader pause and reflect on their own existence. It totally bridges the gap between the book in their hands and their actual lived experience. This single page titled Baby Beds is our entire source material for today. At first glance, it just looks like a colorful page in a children's book. You've got a friendly fox drinking from a mug at the top left, some cheerful bluebirds flying across the sky, sheep in a meadow, and a mother with her baby. But as we break this whole shebang down, you're going to see how every single element, from the specific text structures to the layout of those illustrations, is used to craft an incredibly intentional, highly effective pedagogical journey. It is absolutely not just a cute story. It is a finely tuned mechanism for teaching. Right before the actual rhyming kicks off, the author includes what is officially designated as a warm-up section. And hey, in any good educational system, you need to prime the brain before delivering the core content, right? This section acts as that primer. Instead of starting with rhyming words or beautiful metaphors, it starts with a cold, hard biological fact, designed to create an immediate sense of wonder. What's super interesting here is how the author sets up a stark biological contrast. The text literally tells the child that newborn lambs can stand and walk within minutes of being born. I mean, think about how mind-blowing that is to a toddler who just spent the better part of a year trying to pull themselves up on a coffee table. It contrasts the immediate physical independence of newborn animals in the wild with the extreme vulnerability of human infancy. And this is not random. It grounds the child in the narrative by establishing that, yeah, humans might be slower to walk, but this vulnerability is exactly why we have the protective structures we do, which, of course, leads us right into the core system of the poem. Okay, so following that incredibly effective hook, the poem itself begins, and it's structured around a classic rule of three. We know from cognitive psychology and literature that things coming in threes are just inherently more satisfying, effective, and memorable. But this isn't just repetition for the sake of it. The author uses these three stanzas to carefully transition the reader from the wide, vast, natural world, stepping them down gradually into a highly recognizable, safe, domestic reality. It's a literal zooming in effect. The first step in this progression starts out pastoral and entirely outdoors. It asks the little lambs where they sleep, and the answer is, in the green fields with mother sheep. So we're out in the wide open expanse of nature. It's broad and maybe a bit abstract for a child sitting in their bedroom, but it establishes the baseline of our system. Baby animals exist out there in the world, and they sleep in their respective environments. Now watch how this builds in the second stanza. The focus shifts upward. We aren't on the ground in those wide open fields anymore. We move up to an aerial, much more sheltered environment. The birds rest close to our mother in a warm nest. The environment is getting smaller, it's getting more contained, and it's warmer. We are moving from the macro environment of a field to the micro environment of a nest, inching ever closer to the human experience of a home. And finally, the structural progression culminates exactly where the child reading the book is likely sitting. It lands right on the highly relatable, safe, domestic reality of a human baby. The text asks, "Baby dear, where do you lie?" And the answer is, "In my warm bed." In the original material, this comes right alongside an illustration of a baby tucked under a bright pink floral blanket with their mother. The system has successfully taken the child on a journey from the abstract wilderness straight into their own cozy bedroom. The underlying matrix of this educational system is perfectly mapped out when you look at it structurally. Notice how the subject intentionally changes across the progression. Lambs, birds, and finally a baby. The habitat changes too, bringing abstract nature concepts closer and closer to home, moving from green fields to a warm nest and finally a warm bed. But pay close attention to the companion. It remains exactly the same. Mother sheep, mother, mother nearby. The mother is the constant, reassuring anchor in a constantly changing world.
This is just brilliant systemic design. It teaches the child that no matter what you are or where you sleep, the presence of the mother is the universal constant of safety. So, by establishing that constant anchor across 3 completely different species and environments, the author has done something incredibly sneaky and clever. They've subconsciously prepared the child for the ultimate takeaway. The child's brain has just processed a pattern, 3 distinct examples proving the exact same fundamental truth. Now the system is fully primed and ready to deliver the explicit moral lesson waiting at the very bottom of the page. Stripping away the beautiful illustrations of the sheep in the meadow, the bluebirds, and that bright pink floral bedspread, this bold text from the designated value pick section reveals the foundational moral purpose of the text. Mother's love is unconditional. This entire page, the biological warm-up about walking, the rhythmic rule of 3, the zooming in progression from field to nest to bed, was all meticulously engineered to teach this one incredibly powerful concept. It wasn't just a bedtime story, folks. It was an active installation of a core human value. It really makes you rethink those dusty books sitting on a nursery shelf, doesn't it? As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought. Think back to the simple, repetitive structures of your own early reading. How did the brilliantly disguised mechanics of those pages shape the very core of who you are and what you value today? Because, as we've just seen, long before we were learning complex math or history, we were interacting with highly engineered systems designed to teach us how to be human. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep questioning the simple things.